It's December 18th, 2024, and I'm sitting here with Mr. John J. Jeckovich.
Jeckovich.
Wasn't it funny that your name was different when you were born?
Jeckovich.
And what happened to Jeckovich?
How do you spell that?
Stevie changed the Y to J. And it's R to C.
When you were a boy and starting off in kindergarten, what was your name?
What?
In kindergarten, what was your name?
John Jeckovich.
I know it was Jeckovich.
No, that was before. Jeckovich was Y-E-R-K.
And why did you change it?
I didn't change it. Stevie changed it.
Why did Stevie change it?
Well, because he's going to Cornell, they get uppity up there. They call him a jerk and everything else.
I see. So in Russia, it was a common name, but in the United States, they can make a lot of sarcastic names out of it. So back then, things were so much simple, even with the law. If you want to change your name, simply start calling yourself another name.
Yeah.
There's none of this filing like there is today.
Oh, yeah.
Steve didn't file nothing. So anyways, it's December 18th, 2024, and I'm sitting here with Mr. John J. Jeckovich. Welcome, the Studio 6C. 29 minutes are left on a rental. Oh boy, money keeps on clicking away. And how are you doing today, Mr. Jeckovich?
Yeah, I'm good. Very good.
You're looking well.
I'm looking well. Yeah.
You got a new sweater. Is that warm enough for you?
Oh, yeah.
You got new pants, shoes, socks.
These pants are...
You had all your nails done yesterday.
Yeah, thank you for all that, yeah.
Facial, your hair done.
Yeah.
I mean, you're looking good. Mr. Jeckovich is knocking on the door of 100. Soon he'll be celebrating the 79th anniversary of his 21st birthday. Mr. Jeckovich is a World War II veteran, and, before I say that, what's your dog tag number?
42965.
Okay. Mr. Jeckovich is a World War II veteran from Company H, 2nd Battalion of the 291st Regiment of the 75th Infantry Division of the U.S. Army during World War II. Mr. Jeckovich believes yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, and today is a gift. Mr. Jeckovich wrote a book, I think 3 decades ago. We just found out about it a couple years ago. It was titled Their Mother's Sons. And this is the book that takes you a look inside what life was back in the simpler days, in the 30s, 40s, 60s, 70s. Mr. Jeckovich started taking care of his mother at approximately age 11 when his father died at the age of 43. Mr. Jeckovich's father was an immigrant from Russia. What town in Russia?
Way up north.
That was a very hardcore blue-collar town, if you even use the term blue-collar. All factory workers, and the coldest part of Russia you could imagine. And people worked 16, 18, 20 hours a day in terrible conditions. So when Mr. Jeckovich's father came to the United States, he wasn't like these degenerates that are coming today. He was a hard-working man, very hard-working man, and he wouldn't accept anything unless he earned it. He was working 3 different jobs, and he also did cement work on the side. As Mr. Jeckovich's father, which is named Marion Jeckovich, was doing some cement work during the daylight hours. He, at the age of 43, had a massive heart attack and died right then and there. And things were much different then. There was no, anything like life insurance or Social Security. There was none of that stuff. Plus, they wouldn't probably accept anything from the government anyways. And so Mr. Jeckovich at that point there had to take care of his mother, and from 11 to her death when she was 89 years old. So the book is about that, but it covers other subjects of growing up in an easier time, in a better times. Mr. Jeckovich being drafted in World War II, Mr. Jekovich's war experience, which he was shot up, beat up, stabbed, frostbite, trench foot, bombed. He still has a shrapnel in his leg. How's your frostbite been handling this cold
Right,
weather?
it's bad on me right now.
Yeah, 80 years later. 80 years later, the frostbite at different temperatures hurts him seriously bad. And these boys were 17, 18, 19, and they were in the front line. And the last war was the last-ditch effort by Hitler in Bastogne, Ardennes, 600,000 Germans at one time to 100,000 Americans. Most got slaughtered. But when the skies cleared, the American Army came in with their, Air Force came in with their air power and kind of evened the score. So basically what happened then was Hitler's last-ditch effort to cause pain, to kill Americans, and his scorched earth theory, kind of like what our president's doing today, scorched earth theory, destroying everything in sight, destroying everything, don't care about the people, just destroy everything. And so at that point, even though it was 600,000 Nazis to 100,000 American soldiers, they got caught off guard big time. But that war went on from December 16th, 1944 to almost the end of January. By that time, most of the Germans were pushed all the way back,
To Germany.
pushed all the way back to Berlin. And Hitler was on his rage then. Hitler was destroying everything and everything. He didn't want any of the Americans to get any of the fuel supply, any of the food, buildings. He was destroying everything. And then he took the coward's way out, and Hitler committed suicide. So the scorched earth theory, interesting enough, it was working then, 80 years ago, and it's working now. This guy's getting us in all kinds of mess with millions of criminals, illegal aliens coming in, the deficit out of control, and now in Syria, which will probably be the basis, could be a basis of World War III. So there we go. We have a lot of dictators then and now that are sociopaths and with no empathy. They're simply malignant narcissists. And it's been going since the beginning of time. Wars have gone back thousands and thousands of years, and believe it or not, face the facts, they go on thousands and thousands of more years. Don't you agree? Always war.
Yeah.
Always going to be violence. Always going to be death, destruction, torture.
Always somebody wants more than somebody else has got.
First, when Mr. Jeckovich was enlisted, when he was drafted, he was sent over to Paris because Paris was being occupied by the Nazis. They kicked their asses out of Paris, kicked the Nazis all the way out of Paris, and then many people thought the war was winding down, even though the Pacific was still raging. And that's how they got caught off guard, and that's what it was. The most bloodiest battle of World War II was called the Battle of the Bulge. So they got right into the thick of it. Most young Americans died. 101st, 106th Division, almost every one of these young guys died and tortured. And Mr. Jeckovich, after they kicked their asses back and most of the Nazis were putting up the white flag, then they broke the gates open, and many of the concentration camps, and interesting parts, and many interesting point, a lot of people don't know that in many parts of, say, Idaho and the Midwest, they had prisoner of war camps for the Germans.
Yeah.
They were brought here. I have to think, we have tens of thousands of Germans that we brought here to put in a prisoner of war camp because they didn't want them to go back fighting on the Nazi side. They were defenseless here. I wonder how many of those guys stayed here.
Oh, they stayed, sad, the families and everything else.
Yeah, so they had a
They didn't
fresh
want to
start.
go back.
They didn't want to go back.
Yeah.
And most of those young boys, the SS, I mean, they were really devoted fighters. They were in a cult. But most of the young soldiers on the Nazi side, on the German side, some of them were 11, 12, 16, 17, 18, 19. Tell us the experience when a young Nazi soldier had a drop on you.
He started smiling at me.
So you had a drop on you,
He
though.
had a drop on me.
Clear it up. Tell us exactly how it went down.
Well, he didn't say nothing. He was my age too.
Teenager.
19, 20, 21 years. And he didn't know, he didn't want to get in this war either. They just threw him in there.
So he had a drop on you.
Yeah.
He didn't shoot at you, and he looked at you and smiled. Then what?
And he turned around and walked away.
And he knew that you were going to put a bullet in his back.
He knew that. He knew
that you were.
Yeah.
I hope that young German soldier had a long and fruitful life. That's the kind of people that make the whole generation wonderful. But if that was an SS, what would have happened?
They shoot him.
No, if the SS had a drop on you,
They killed me.
they would have killed you. And I firmly believe that most people in Mr. Jekovich's division were slaughtered and massacred. But I firmly believe that just the prayers of his mother, Anna Targus Jeckovich, she's a devout Roman Catholic, is the only reason why that he lived through the war. That's the only reason why. There's no other explanation. Like I said, he was shot up, beat up, bombed, sniper put a bullet through his shoulder, trench foot, and they didn't even give him the proper clothing.
No, they gave me all the stuff to rear echelon.
Yeah,
I was wearing buckle boots I had when I was going to school.
the front line guys weren't even wearing proper clothing. They had buckle boots like you would give to a grammar school person.
Yeah.
Like the black buckle boots. They didn't have the proper clothing, and weren't all the guys always shivering?
Oh, yeah.
It was the coldest winter of record. Of 100 years it goes back. And these boys, many of them died of frostbite. Many of them lost fingers, and many of them lost feet of frostbite. It's nothing to mess with. Frostbite is very dangerous. It's very dangerous. And then when you guys broke the gates open, the Nazis didn't expect you to be there so quick. They didn't expect it all of the concentration camps and the Holocaust camps. What do they tell you not to do when you start releasing the prisoners?
Don't feed them. Don't feed them. Don't feed them.
Why is that?
Their stomach is abnormal. They weren't fed. Half of them were starving. They're all, you can see their ribs.
60 pounds.
Yeah.
70 pounds. 60 pounds, 70 pounds. Majority of them died. Majority of them never made it. And the experiments they put on these young boys was just unbelievable. Things you couldn't even think of. The Nazis were obsessed with twins. They gathered up over 3,000 twins over the course of years, brought them to concentration camps. Only 200 of the 3,000 twins survived, and most of them, in the great knowledge, I say that sarcastically, of these Nazi doctors, they were sewn together. What a sick and perverted thing.
Yeah, they were experimenting.
Yeah. Yeah. Unbelievable things that took place. And then when they broke open the gates, to the right of where the majority of the soldiers were bunked, you could call it bunk, but they were just living like pigs. Basically no clothes on, frigid weather. Most of them couldn't stand. And for the fun of it, if the Nazi in the watchtower felt like it, he'd come down and put like thousands of these guys in the middle of the concentration camp and hose them down with a fire hose. You know, that's how sick these people are. That's how sick they are. And then to the next of it was the headquarters, where they had like 6 to 10 secretaries. And they knew what was going on. Townspeople knew what was going on, but they all buried their head in the sand, like no one knew. And after the gates would bust down, they'd go in the offices, and 6 to 10 secretaries in each place. And they're all heavy because they're eating like pigs. eating like cannibals. Eating like cannibals, so they nicknamed them the fat fucks. The fat fucks. And they took them outside to the general population and they had them help. Clean up the guys, clothe the guys, move the dead to a big pile so they could be burned. And that's just the way it is. And everyone acted like they had blinders on. No one knew it. And then after all this was done, they gathered up all the townspeople and they marched the townspeople through these conditions because the townspeople also had their heads buried in the sand.
Yeah.
And they wanted to show the townspeople what Hitler was all about. What an animal
And
he
they had
actually
the townspeople clean it up.
Yeah, what an animal, and they had the townspeople clean it up. So it was a very sad part of history, but if you go back 800 years, 1,000 years, same type of nonsense, same type of things that you couldn't even imagine happening. And then whenever we talk about, this is like, I think, the 421st podcast, whenever we talk about the Holocaust camps and the concentration camps, we have these ass wipes. We get the type of ass wipes we have in Texas. We get a lot of them. I stop even answering half of them. These are the guys that went to Harvard, Yale, or Columbia. You know, the guys with the bald head and a long ponytail. It look like real fucking retards. But they're always coming back and stating the Holocaust and the concentration camps are a joke.
Yeah.
I'm to the point where I can't even explain to them. I don't even want to even talk to these asswipes. What do I say? What do I try to convince? You'll know the guy. You'll see the same type. They're bald-headed and they have a long-ass ponytail. And most of them went to Columbia, Harvard, and Yale. And they're just dumb asses. They were never in a battle in their life, and they never will be. They wouldn't be able to stand it. So what do I say? Do I try to convince them? No. No, I don't try to convince them.
Well, they were well taken care of.
So, the ones that don't believe in Holocaust, death camps, in concentration camps, what do I say? What could a person say? Well, I guess I'll just give you the middle finger salute and tell all you baldies with that long ponytail to get yourself a picture of Hitler and why don't you go jerk off to it tonight. Because I have nothing to say to these guys. In fact, if you get any more texts with these guys texting me on this, don't even bring them to my attention.
Yeah.
I don't even want to waste time on it. So that's life, and it goes round and round and round, and it's just the way it is. But I still believe the majority of the people in this world are great people. Majority of people are really good people. And I'll never change my mind on that. The majority of the people are good people. Did we have a little note that just came in from Mr. Jeckovich today? What do we got here? It says here, the Peterson family from Sacramento, California. What's this about?
Oh, it's a nice
Peterson family, Sacramento, California. They sent this in today?
Yeah.
There you go. Peterson family. See, good people. What did I tell you? Good people, wonderful people.
Blow it out.
Wonderful people. What the hell is it? Hey, that's cool.
It's a puppy, yeah.
A puppet? A puppy?
Or a
Yeah.
kitty cat.
A kitty cat.
The kitty cat.
That's
Okay, now you gotta
cool.
push that button, John, and put it on
That'll
the
make his
floor.
day.
Push that button. Push his hand. Squeeze
Yeah,
his
put
hand.
that over the counter.
Here, you go. Push the
Yeah,
button.
yeah.
Here, wait.
Hey, there we go. You got yourself a new pet, Mr. Jeckovich.
He's knocking his head off.
This brought him a good laugh, didn't it?
Yeah.
Thank you, Peterson family. Send them a note this
I
week.
will. See?
Hold it the other way, Mr. Jeckovich, so we can see it. Hold it the other way. See, you always wanted a cat, and now you got your own cat. You always wanted a cat, didn't you?
I always wanted a cat.
Yeah.
I
Just
would turn that thing off.
it's losing all its balls or its bells.
All right, here.
There
Throw
you
it
go.
on a chair. Just throw it on a chair. Just
There
throw it on
we
a
go.
chair. Whip it on a chair. Just whip it on a chair. You don't have to get up. Just throw it. Throw it on a chair.
Here, John. Here.
It lost all its bells.
Lost all of its
Hey,
bells.
that's what you call a feral cat.
Yeah. Oh, that was
That's
nice.
what you
Thank
call-
you. Thank you, Petersons.
Peterson family, Sacramento, California.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
see, there's good people.
Yeah.
There's
That
good
was
people.
nice.
There's good people. So, you're looking really well today. Minutes?
No.
Yeah.
You're looking chipper.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got that haircut, you got shaved, you got your nails cut. Man, you're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
I guess a staff of 10 will make anyone look that good.
Absolutely.
A staff of 10 will make anyone look as good as you. You
Yeah.
don't even look 100.
9 minutes.
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah.
Let's see what she is.
Oh, yeah.
So, you're looking really well. Can't believe you're knocking on the door of 100. It's interesting, people always ask, what's your secret of longevity? Why don't you tell us what you say your secret is?
Genes.
Genes, and how long did your father live to?
43.
How long did your mother live to?
89.
Okay, and what else did you do that would give you the
No
privilege?
smoking, no drinking.
Yeah. I used to believe I'd ask this person a question about longevity, and I thought maybe that was the answer. But the other day I had on the island of Defusky Island, South Carolina, and Hake Point, I had whenever I go home, I have a guy that walks briskly past my house, and he's in his early hundreds. And he's walking briskly past my house. So one day, for the hell of it, I stopped him. And I asked him how old he was. I think he was going on 102 or something like that. He had a strong, broken accent from Cuba. He came on the boat lift in '74. But apparently he's doing good because he's living in a very expensive island. I didn't ask him what he did. But I asked him, what's your secret of longevity? You're walking very briskly. Very, very briskly. What the hell is it? He says, well, let me tell you. I'm listening closely because he has this very thick accent. First thing he does in the morning, he has 5 strips of bacon. Throughout the day, he has several rums and cokes throughout the day. And then at that time there, he says he smokes between 5 and 6 cigars. And I'm thinking to myself, this is everything that shouldn't have longevity.
Yeah.
And he said doctors for the last 50 years told him to stop, but he buried 6 doctors already that told him this. He buried 6 doctors and he's still going. I said, I'm saying to myself, you're doing everything wrong. I'm listening to Mr. Jeckovich, and he refrained from all that. So I said, I'm still trying to understand what the secret is longevity is, of anyone's longevity. We just really don't know. We just kind of think of what it is. And I said, well, how the hell? You did everything basically wrong what people tell you shouldn't do. How'd you make it to this far? And he just looked at me and said, one secret. No stress. I was never married. And that's exactly what he said.
Don't stress out, don't marry.
And he's a living example. I see him almost every day when I'm home. I see him there. It's amazing. And then Mr. Jeckovich is just the opposite. And he's equally as well as him. Mr. Jeckovich is still a young boy compared to him at 103 or 102, but still, and by the way, if you're 40 years old, you only have a 10% chance of ever making it to 100.
Yeah.
10% chance. It's a tough way to go. It's very, very difficult to make it to 100. It truly is very difficult. And Mr. Jeckovich, you ran for 80 years, right?
Yeah.
Mr. Jeckovich worked at Kimberly-Clark for 35 years. Did the tires of your car ever make it to that parking lot?
No, I walked.
35 years.
Yeah.
What would you do in the snow?
With rubbers, boots, and everything else.
And what would you do in the rainstorms?
Right, get a raincoat.
Oh, and by the way, Mr. Jeckovich, to add to his longevity answer, he never took a prescription in his life, never took a vitamin, never took any over-the-counter drugs or prescription drugs of any type. And Mr. Jeckovich states quite clearly and intensely. He has 2 doctors. Mr. Jeckovich has 2 doctors. His left leg and his right leg.
That's it, yeah.
Don't you believe you keep on walking,
Yeah,
you'll be in pretty damn good shape.
yeah.
And his eyesight is unbelievable. He reads 3 newspapers in the morning with no glasses at all. No glasses at all. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. He shakes your hand, he can knock you down. His mind is sharp as a 30 or 40-year-old, right?
Well, I don't know. I don't know about that.
How's your mind right now?
Well, it's good. It's
All right,
good.
let me give
Yeah,
you a
it's
test.
good.
Let me give you a test. This is the big number. What's your dog tag number?
420965.
There you go. How many people can remember their dog tag number? Not many. Not many. And kind of winding down this section, because I have the person coming into the studio next are going to give me a kind of like a weird looking eye. A weird looking eye.
Who is this?
The studio, the next people coming in for the studio, but trying to wind this thing down, this is very important for you to know. There were 16,400,000 16,400,000 young men and ladies that participated in World War II. Almost all of them are gone. Many got killed during the war. Many died of just old age, because most of them are in the late 90s or early hundreds. But what Mr. Jeckovich was, he was on front line. Front line is this. You're in the dirt, you're in the snow, you're fighting nonstop every minute of every day. Right?
Right.
You don't get no breaks.
No.
You don't get no breaks.
Didn't sleep in the house either.
You know, you wouldn't sleep in the house either. You slept outside.
Yeah.
And that was the coldest winter in over 100 years. So right now we have less than 6,000 of these fighters, of these army fighters that freed Europe and the United States. If it wasn't for people like this, you might be speaking German and registering everything you do with the upper brass.
2.5.
Because remember, even now today we're living in a beautiful free state. But remember, always trust the government. Ask any Indian.
Yeah.
The government will screw you every time. But we're still a lot better here than if Mr. Jeckovich and all those millions of soldiers lost the war. We would have been in bad shape. So the Battle of Bulge was a final finale on a European theater, but the Pacific raged on.
They're fanatics over there. Yeah.
They're fanatics, climbing in holes, tunnels.
Yeah.
In fact, it's a known fact, that war, many of the Japanese soldiers went all the way to 1975 thinking the war was still on,
Yeah.
hiding out in the jungles.
Yeah.
Unbelievable minutes.
150.
And when the European theater ended with the Battle of Bulge, all the young American Army guys were so worried that they might get shipped to the Pacific.
Yeah, that was in the books.
Because they needed more people. And so what happened? Did you get shipped to the Pacific?
No, they dropped the bomb.
Yeah, but there's one exception to that. There was one soldier that couldn't wait to get to the Pacific after the war ended
That
in
was
Germany.
Patton.
General Patton, he was gung-ho after the war ended in Germany, European theater. He wanted so badly to get to the Pacific, but he never made it. He had some type of automobile accident, but he wanted to desperately go there.
Yeah.
He was a very unique individual. Tell us about your run-in with Patton.
With Patton?
Yeah, what happened when he caught you?
Well, we were sleeping in the barn. We walked all the way. We were sleeping. I told him, get in the barn, get some hay on you, cover yourself up. And it was 3 o'clock in the morning. He jeeped and posted camouflage the jeep very well, and he picked it up. He went in the barn, seen us there. He said, "Get up, get the hell out, get going."
At 3 o'clock in the morning.
3 o'clock in the morning, yeah.
And you thought you were finally going to get a little rest.
Yeah, and he says, go.
What do they call Patton?
Blood and guts.
How'd that work out?
Well, that was his blood and our guts.
No, his guts, you said, right?
Yeah,
And your blood.
yeah.
Minutes?
14 seconds.
Well, that's an interesting story.
Yeah.
Was that the last time you seen him?
No, I seen him in newsreels of that, but
But in
I never
person.
seen him in person again.
That was it.